Hello, my friends. Welcome back to 3 News Now. It is Friday, July 31st. This is your afternoon update with the top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. This is where we fill you in on everything you need to know in Northeast Ohio. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thank you so much for being here with me. We are going to start off when we get going here with some new COVID-19 numbers that are not great for the state of Ohio, especially looking back at how we've done over the last 5 days when it comes to the number of newly reported deaths specifically. We've had almost 200 deaths in the last 5 days in Ohio, and that's a lot for us. I'll break that down for you. Also, we are officially now over 90,000 reported cases here in Ohio. Despite that, fall sports will continue as scheduled according to OHSAA, the Ohio High School Athletic Association, so it will be up to schools to call sports off, and some of them are doing that. Dr. Anthony Fauci also testified before the House of Representatives in the Capitol today about the production and manufacturing of a COVID-19 vaccine. We'll tell you what he had to say about that. Also, what you won't need a reservation for at the Cleveland Zoo, but what you will need a reservation for moving forward. And we'll tell you a little bit about the thing that everyone's talking about online today. Beyonce's Black is King visual album is out, so we'll tell you what you need to know about that. First up, we are going to get into those COVID-19 numbers here in Ohio, new out from the Ohio Department of Health. New cases are down today from yesterday, but still a high number, and deaths are way up from yesterday, more than double what we saw for new reported deaths in the last 24 hours. And we also have a new figure to share with you about hospital occupancy in the state of Ohio. Now, as I said, we are now officially over a total of 90,000 cases here in the state of Ohio and almost 200 deaths in the last 5 days. In the last 24 hours, there have been 1,533 new reported cases to the Ohio Department of Health. Now remember, that doesn't mean new positive tests in the last 24 hours. These have just been reported to the Ohio Department of Health. That brings our total now up to 91,159 here in the state of Ohio. Now, about 72% of those cases have presumed to be recovered by the Ohio Department of Health. That's 65,788 people that they do think have recovered from COVID-19. Of course, that's not a definite number, and that also means 28% of those cases are presumed to be active right now. Now, our latest positivity rate is 5.8%. Now, this does go back 2 days. That's down from what we saw 6% yesterday, but is still above that World Health Organization threshold of 5% where they are targeting for states to be, and our 7-day rolling average is now 6%. So that means for every COVID-19 test, for all the COVID-19 tests that are being done in Ohio, 6% of them are coming back positive. Now, in the last 24 hours, we've also had 47 new reported deaths related to COVID-19, bringing that total to now 3,489 deaths in the state of Ohio. Now, here's where things get a little bit scary, because in the last 5 days, we've had almost 200 deaths reported. From Monday through today, there have been 182 new deaths reported. That's a lot for us in a week. We've been looking at a lot of weeks back to back where that number has been jumping around. We've had days in the single digits. We've had days in the high 30s. We've had days in the 20s, and the number has really jumped around a lot. Back on July 25th, we had a day where there were 0 new deaths reported. But this stretch of new daily reported deaths that are in these high 30s, 40s numbers is something that we've not seen for a while here in Ohio, so we need to keep an eye on that. Again, in the last 5 days, 182 new deaths reported here in the state of Ohio. Now, our new daily reported hospitalizations are down slightly from yesterday. There have been 112 new hospitalizations reported in the last 24 hours, bringing that total number of people who have been hospitalized in Ohio for COVID-19 to now 10,790. And today, there are 1,024 people currently hospitalized. That's also a drop from yesterday. And if we compare that to the total number of people that we've known that have been hospitalized, that's about 9.5% of everyone that we know of that's been hospitalized is currently in the hospital right now. Of those people who are in the hospital right now, 330 of them are in the intensive care unit. So that's about 32% of all the people who are hospitalized are in the ICU. There were 18 new ICU cases reported in the last 24 hours, bringing that total number of people who have been in the ICU related to COVID-19 to now 2,552 here in the state of Ohio. Here's that new number we have to report for you. And we now have data on the hospital bed occupancy statewide. We're at 72.6%. Those are the hospital beds that are being taken up right now, not necessarily related to COVID-19, but those are the hospital beds that are being used right now, 72.6%. So that means we have 27.4% of our hospital beds available for people who need a bed for COVID-19 or for anything else. Now let's take a look at the national and global numbers related to COVID-19. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. The total number of cases in the U.S. is now known to be just under 4.5 million. That number is 4,496,737. The total number of deaths across the U.S. is now 152,074 related to COVID-19. 152,070 poor people have lost their lives related to COVID-19. That's a 3.4% death rate if you compare the number of deaths to the known number of cases. And we are holding steady at those numbers as we have been for quite some time. We've got 26% of the known global cases in the U.S. and 23% of the known global deaths here in the U.S. Globally, there are now 17,334,539 known cases of COVID-19, and there have been 674,038 deaths, and that makes for a global death rate of 3.9%. Here in Ohio, OHSAA is reaffirming its plans to move ahead with fall sports with practices beginning tomorrow, Saturday, August 1st. That includes practices for both low and non-contact sports and contact sports, including football. They will be permitted to begin official practices tomorrow, Saturday, August 1st. This information came from Ohio High School Athletics Association Interim Executive Director Bob Goldring in an email to schools today. In addition to that, Dan Leffingwell, who is the president of the OHSAA Board of Directors and also superintendent of Noble Local Schools in Sarahsville, said that if OHSAA doesn't offer sports, kids will play sports somewhere else. And he said OHSAA schools are the best equipped to do this properly with a focus on safety and a basis in education. Now, earlier this week, OHSAA said that inter-school scrimmages would be suspended for contact sports. That includes football, soccer, and field hockey, and that the season could start without scrimmages. So that still holds true about scrimmages being suspended, but practices across the board are permitted to begin according to OHSAA. Now, not all schools are holding true to that. Some schools are taking it upon themselves to cancel their own activities. One of those is Garfield Heights. The athletic director for Garfield Heights said that effective today, as of 12:30 p.m., all extracurricular practices, events, and conditioning are canceled until further notice. So what we're learning here is OHSAA is permitting things to move forward. Some schools are opting out, and everyone seems to be waiting for more word from Governor Mike DeWine. OHSAA said that it could adjust its plan based on further guidance from DeWine. At the national level, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's leading infectious disease expert, said he is optimistic that a COVID-19 vaccine will be widely available once it is approved. So I want to stress that we are talking about production and manufacturing at this point. We're not necessarily talking about the approval process of a COVID-19 vaccine, because Dr. Fauci said today in front of a House panel that is investigating the nation's response to the pandemic, he said that once a vaccine is approved as safe and effective, he believes that Americans will have widespread access within what he called a reasonable amount of time. He elaborated a little bit on that. He said that ultimately, over a period of time in 2021, that Americans will be able to get it. He said there will be a priority list of who gets it first. He's talked about this before, including people who are especially at risk, older Americans, frontline healthcare workers, those kinds of things. He said he doesn't think everyone will be able to get it immediately, but those are some of the people who will be given priority once a vaccine does become available, but that he believes at some point within 2021, all Americans who need the vaccine will be able to get it. Now, this is all part of Operation Warp Speed, where multiple companies are testing multiple vaccines in the hopes that one of them gets approved and can move forward. Dr. Fauci said that 250,000 people have already registered on a government website in order to take place in vaccine trials, and that's crucial because you need people to be able to test this in order to move forward with the vaccine. But The thing about that is not all patients who volunteer will be actually eligible to participate. There is a vetting process for that. Now, we do know that Moderna Inc. has just started its trial, and that includes 30,000 people who will be testing out their version of a vaccine. That does include some Cleveland volunteers as well. They were looking for volunteers here in Cleveland. Pfizer is also in the process of getting its study going. They're looking for 30,000 people, and we do know that Pfizer has struck a deal with the Trump administration. They've been promised $2 billion if they are able to deliver 100 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine by the end of the year. But between now and then, Dr. Fauci reiterated earlier this week, as he's been saying over and over again, that we need to universally be wearing masks. Now, here in Ohio, we do have a statewide mandate at this point. That's something that's relatively new here. Other states do have it. Fauci says he's really disappointed in the rhetoric about anti-mask and that universally we just need to be wearing masks. And that's coming from the nation's leading infectious disease expert. Now, as we look at other things that have been impacted by COVID-19, you might be excited to know that the Cleveland Zoo is no longer requiring general reservations in advance. That is starting tomorrow, Saturday, August 1st. The zoo said that they have been operating at a reduced capacity of no more than 75% people allowed in, but attendance has still remained low, so they just don't need the reservations anymore. They said reservations will still be honored and you can still buy tickets in advance, both online and at the gate, but you don't have to if you want to go to the regular zoo. They also said that they will continue to have physical distancing in place and frequent cleaning and sanitation remaining in place and continue with that reduced capacity, but just no reservations required for the general zoo. You do need reservations for the Asian Lantern Festival. That is still required, and that festival, which I haven't had the pleasure of seeing, but it looks incredible, that continues through August 23rd. So if you want to check out the Asian Lantern Festival, you do still need reservations. So keep that in mind. Something that dropped today that everyone is talking about is the Black is King visual album. This is by Beyonce. That dropped on Disney Plus today. This is based on the soundtrack for The Lion King, which Beyonce voiced the character of Nala in The Lion King. And the Black is King visual album celebrates Black excellence and culture. Beyonce said today in a post that what she wanted to do with this was present elements of Black history and African tradition with a modern twist and a universal message, and what it truly means to find your self-identity and build a legacy. And you can find that streaming on Disney Plus. You will need a membership in order to check that out, so just keep that in mind. But I'm sure you can get lots of reviews all over online because everyone is raving about it. One more thing before we let you go today. We couldn't let you go without letting you know that today is National Mutt Day. This is also known as National Mixed Breed Dog Day. It's a day to celebrate the furry friends in your lives. This was actually created back in 2005 by celebrity pet and family lifestyle expert and animal welfare advocate Colleen Page. So National Mutt Day is celebrated both on July 31st and December 2nd. We love our furry friends so much they get 2 days a year. It's all about embracing and saving and celebrating mixed breed dogs. So with that in mind, if you want to celebrate your mutt, please send us a picture of your furry friend. You can do that using the WKYC app. Just use the Near Me feature. Open up the app. Once you see the greeting from our app, it's the first thing that pops up. You'll see it in the bottom right-hand corner. You just tap on Near Me, and then you submit the photo in the next screen that pops up. Tell us about your furry friend and hit submit, and it'll be on the way to our team. We might use it on What's New at 5 p.m. We also might use it online. That's it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Friday, July 31st. I will see you on What's New at 5 p.m., which you can also stream for free in the WKYC app. So if you don't have that app yet, now's a great time to do it. And then I'll see you back here I'll see you back here on Monday morning with your early update. Everyone, have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here soon. I'm Stephanie Haney.